So, good morning, and also warning: the following content and discussions and opinions that you might hear from this video are opinions, and they might appear sensitive and controversial, so viewers' discretion is advised. I want to carry on a sequel on that video that I made about drug abuse and substance abuse. So this is more centered on narco terrorism and also on the individual taking the drugs and the people around him as well. Because hey, charity begins at home. You are your environment, whether you are being influenced or being pushed to that direction. Charity begins at home, and your environment shapes you. So let's get into it. Oh yeah. So first things first, I would like to pray for whoever is going through such a phase. If you're still stuck in a phase and you need to in that phase, because that's such a weird phase. That is not a life. That is not a life. That's slowly committing suicide. So in the name of the Father, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Father, we come before you as addicts and as human beings and as young men and women for the next generation. And we pray that you heal our minds and you set them free. And I want you to be there for whoever is going through a struggle for addiction, be it drugs, pornography, sex, or whatever addiction and vice that make them become the people that they wouldn't want to meet. They didn't want to introduce their families or mothers. So I hope you can consume that and find some enlightenment. Amen. Yeah. Okay, you're slowly setting yourself up for failure, for depression. You're setting up yourself for depression in the future, for failure in the future. That's how it is. It's not like you're consuming the drug or you're consuming the weed. The weed is consuming you. Wakutoput kwa uriwe.
A new medical study on the effects of marijuana use confirms that everyone knows you're high and that you'll most likely never stop feeling like this. According to the American Journal of Medicine, you're not making any sense and everyone thinks you're weird.
Your parents know you're high, your friends know you're high, strangers on the street know you're high. If you're young and you smoke marijuana, you will probably never be able to find a job. And if you're an adult, you will most likely be fired. If you hear a noise, that's probably the police, and you're probably going to jail.
While previous studies suggested that it's all good and that we're
all made of the same stuff that makes.
So there's not much you can do about this. And that was an Instagram clip from The Onion. Pretty interesting. You should go and follow those guys on Instagram. So with abusing drugs, it messes up your mind, it messes up your life. And as you heard that guy said, I mean, if you continuously keep smoking and drinking or whatever, you're not going to find a job. Two, you're probably going to lose your job, or you'll never have a promotion. You just be stuck going in circles. You know, Ngudai. Year in, year out. Year in, year out. Ngudai. So I'm going to try and give you some insights or a couple of reasons why you should stop smoking weed. Maybe might not need to stop, but why you need to discipline. Okay, there are those of you who need to discipline, and then there are those of you who need to stop entirely, because that's not who you are. You're copying someone else. You smoking with your friends. You're probably trying to fit in with a group with your friends, but that's not who you are, and that's not your preference. Your body and your ancestors are rejecting the fact that you want to take this substance or consume a substance. Don't copy people. There's comfort in numbers. Some people actually know that they're ruined. Their lives are not going to go anywhere, or they're too bitter and filled up with anxiety to even consider. So they want you to be the same with them. They want to drag you down with them. They want you to be in their group to be part of them. No one wants to be a bum by themselves. No one wants to be uh, caught by themselves. There's all comfort in numbers, right? There's a comfort in numbers. So be careful with your friends. Be careful with the people you surround yourself with. If you're a good friend, be a good friend and try and help your friend to become a better person or smarter person. If that doesn't work, you still have to be a good friend and continue with your life and be an example to that person. Like, hey, this dude actually did this and he came through. Well, maybe I should start copying him or try reaching out to him again.
I'm liking the smell of all the peace. I'm liking the smell. Right.
Utangichora mapicture pana him.
Ukachora
picture hope une explanation kumba kwedu.
Chatopera. Ndo basa rakushanda mabhuku iri mazano.
Ukura vamujengwa rekomeni.
Ukachiona chimpanje.
Takazvimona zvimbanje in the probably grade 3s, grade 2s, form 4s. Yeah, this is what's going on. This is the reality. That is a societal issue. That's a societal issue. So you do need to be concerned, and you do need to be a community father, community brother, community mother, community daughter, community sister, community cousin. We're each other's keeper. Where's the whole Ubuntu in the culture if you're not looking out for each other? Yeah. And the older kids, try and limit the younger kids from doing this stuff. These kids, if they had an older, I don't know, a role model, like a sibling role model, like an older brother and older sister, this wouldn't be happening. But then they have the wrong role model. They probably have a sekuru, a mukoma sticks, mukoma sachet. Yeah, that's the role model that they have, and now they consuming these drugs. Yeah, and then friends also influence you to take drugs. You need to understand who you're keeping around yourself. I mean, as much as you have history together, but some friendships that just need to die. That's how most friendships die. They die because of maturity. One of you matures, the other one stays young, stays twice, stays retarded. But then I'm not saying that, hey, you need to abandon your friend. You need to cut off everyone. Hey, cut off people who don't want to walk on the same road as you. All right. They don't want to walk on the same. You're walking on your road. You want to go to that direction, to that location where you're going to be mature, where you're going to be richer, smarter, and much more spiritual. But your friend wants to sit down on the side of the road and probably catch up. Hey, okay, you continue walking. If they all catch up, let them catch up. And I think, personally, the best way you can be a good friend is if you are a good person to yourself, and if you're self-aware and you have self-respect. If you value your mind, yourself, your image, you can value the mind and image of your friend. You would want him to do better. Musafurirane kuita zvinhu zvakadhakwa. Kana muchifurirana kuita zvinhu zvakadhakwa, chifurirane kugadzirisa kuita ma-corrections. Kana muchifurirana kuita zvinhu zvakadhakwa, furirane kuita ma-corrections. That's how it is. I mean, there's comfort in numbers. But then when you're by yourself, all alone in your mind, that's when you start to think that, hey, nhamo dzangu dzakasiyana nedzauyu. That's when you start to realize, oh shit, I have this on my shoulders that I have to check on. I got this on my shoulders that I have to build. You understand?
I was surprised to learn this. I'd be curious what your thoughts are. I'm not a cannabis smoker. I just never really liked it. But I had a guest on my podcast named Paul Conti. He's an MD, mainly works on trauma, incredible trauma therapist, and has written about trauma, wrote the book on trauma that I think is the one in my opinion. And then we got into a discussion about like different substances and do they have application. So we talked about ketamine, et cetera. Asked about alcohol, just by way of comparison. And he said there are basically zero therapeutic uses for alcohol. Right? Therapeutic.
Right.
But then I asked about cannabis. Now, this isn't something he does in his own clinic. He does talk therapy, not drug therapy. Although he's a psychiatrist, so he can prescribe things. And he said, cannabis is interesting and it may actually have some therapeutic potential, but the main effect of cannabis is to narrow attention and focus. It actually can increase attention and focus. Now, the problem is it's not a very good filter, so people can narrowly attend to just video games or just to their anxiety if they're already anxious. That's a problem.
Yeah, so it's actually used for medicine, you know, especially marijuana. Some drugs are medication. Most drugs are medication, but corrupted by human desire and human pleasure. But it's generally for medicine, just like marijuana. Marijuana can help a lot of people. At the same time, it can destroy a lot of people. You can't just be a person consuming marijuana and you don't understand. In fact, you can't be anyone consuming any drugs, any substance. Even the parents out there, the elders, the uh, or people so sober-minded people. The painkillers you take four of them and let's see what will happen. You're taking two, yeah, it's prescribed two, but hey, if you take more of those things, you're gonna see that this is actually a drug. I'm actually intoxicated here. I'm actually lit. Some people function better on drugs. Some people function the same on or off drugs. Some people function terribly on drugs. They ruin themselves on drugs. So you cannot try and put yourself where you feel like you should be. Understand your biology, understand your psychology, understand your mind and your environment and your ancestors as well. You know, you can't just be the first person in your lifeline to be in your generation to be taking drugs. That's how you end up cuckoo, you know, because you don't have tolerance of some sort.
The kind of creativity part of it,
Yes.
like that you can't plan jujitsu.
Right.
You have to improvise.
Yeah,
It's like jazz.
in a lot of ways. There's definitely that, but it's also the focus thing that you're only thinking about that. Like while you're rolling, you're really only thinking about rolling. While you're smoking cannabis and then rolling, you're hyper focused on it.
And physical strength, you feel fine. You don't feel lethargic or anything.
No,
like
not
that.
at all. I actually enjoy it. I actually enjoy it when I lift weights too.
Oh, I haven't tried that
Yeah,
one.
I feel it. Like I feel it in the fibers. It's almost like I'm more aware of like what's going on instead of like this blunt sort of
So that was the Joe Rogan podcast on how weed affects disciplined people. Very interesting. Go and watch these podcasts. I promise you, because what they're talking about, I understand they're overseas in America, they're in other countries, but the topics they mainly talk about are also topics that trickle down into our societies and into Africa. That's when you have the drug issue. These guys have drug cities. We now have major drug cities in our country, in Zimbabwe. You know, these guys have issues with pornography. Like they're talking about the human trafficking, the evil behind it. What? We in Zimbabwe recently just started having OnlyFans. Well, not we. Let me take myself out of that we, but they have started making OnlyFans, especially the girls in uni, in high school there. So like it's different. Some people need the medication. Some people abuse the medication. You cannot put them in the same group or in the same box and say that we need to entirely and give them the same solution and give them the same, I don't know, prescription. All right. But of course, you know, if you abuse something, it will turn on you. Each time you abuse something, it will turn on you. You abuse your wife, she's going to go to the police, even though she's going to bail you out eventually. You abused your wife, but she did turn on you. You continue abusing, and then you see how much it's going to turn on you. You abuse drugs, they're gonna turn on you. That's when you see time flying by, passing by. You don't know. All you've managed to do is, I don't know, get a crusher, meet some people. Drugs and marijuana, they provide different roads for different people. Some roads have no return, some roads are endless, and then some roads have a destination. They have a X marks the spot. So with that knowledge, especially the people that take drugs out there, I'm mainly talking to the people that consume drugs out there. I'm talking to the addicts, I'm talking to the responsible smokers, I'm talking to the closet smokers, abusers, and so forth. I'm talking to those guys. And to people that also have friends or family that are addicted to drugs, yeah, I'm talking to you.
You won't believe this video. This gentleman with severe Parkinson's disease tries cannabis for the first time to help alleviate some of his tremors. At 1:37, he rubs the compound on his inner cheek. And just 4 minutes later, his tremors are almost completely gone. This just goes to show you with further research and studies, these compounds may dramatically improve the lives of Parkinson's disease patients and other related conditions.
So these drugs are going to be in our society. Drugs and medication are going to be in our societies for the longest. They've been, and they're going to be for the longest. Yeah, like you see what I'm saying? Different people function different on this stuff. Snoop Doggity Dogg, Wiz Khalifa. These guys are made of him the weed icons, the marijuana icons. And I think it's bad because that's what gave all these other people the idea that, hey, weed is actually cool and I think I can do it. I want to be cool too. Let me smoke and be cool like these dudes. Nah, it's wrong. That's not what it is. Okay. Marijuana, it's something else. It's something different. Do not abuse that. Okay. Likewise with all these other drugs, do not abuse them. Yes, as I was saying, marijuana and some other drugs, they help with health. Okay, they help with a lot of things, a lot of ailments. Some people have seizures. Some people have a bunch of funny white people ailments. Don't mean I'm just joking, not white people ailments, but yeah, mainly white people suffer for them. So we need some of these drugs for medication. It's medication, all right? We are abusing medication as a society and as consumers. We should understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. Most people do not research on the drugs that they take. They just go and take a drug. Even if you're taking the most lethal or illegal drug, go and do your due diligence to at least research on it. Understand its side effects. Understand what you need to do to detox it out of your system. Understand how it affects you. You know what I mean? But most people don't do that. They just consume. They just consume. They just consume. Consumerism. And it's not just in drugs. Consumerism everywhere. We're just consuming.
I'm on my way to the Nigerian Drugs Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA. Their checkpoints have become a common sight on the streets of Lagos. In 2023, they seized opioids worth more than $100 million.
This year, all this is 225 tramadol.
Which is illegal. Tramadol is a catch-all name to describe the range of opioids used as street drugs. It's estimated more than 4 million people in Nigeria are misusing some form of opioid.
We're having a problem coming in from another country. It has become a big menace in Nigeria.
And which country is that?
India.
No.
You have it. You heard it for yourselves. Drugs, problems coming from other countries. Other countries profiting from the problems in your country. Think about that. Right. So I hope the past clips I've been showing you can give you an insight and perception on drugs. Like what can you do, you know, as a consumer and as a sober person, what can you do? You know, as much as people love drugs and as much as people want to sell drugs, the source is what's controlling all of you, okay? Someone else is profiting from your lifestyle, from that lifestyle in the country, from that lifestyle in the community. Someone else benefits from a mother leaving a daughter or a child with her grandparents to go and sleep at the bases and take coca, smoke weed, drink alcohol, black label, castle, teku two keys, and more. Someone else profits from that lifestyle. Someone else profits from your child ruining their life. And you need to understand that.
These shipments came in through Ghana, through the borders. They have been tracking him for 5 months.
Tamale in northern Ghana has been hit hard by a recent rise in opioid use. Journalist Yaya Masahudu grew up here.
These drugs are destroying families, destroying young men and women with potential who otherwise would have been able to help in developing this country.
It's got so bad, locals have set up their own task force to track down the opioid dealers.
It's important to look into that and to find out who is responsible for bringing the product into West Africa. The task force is trying to catch the traders and smugglers, but it's the source that needs to be stopped.
So let me start there and I'll get back to you when I have more information. We know the drugs are made in India. Now we need to find out who is making them. An undercover operative agreed to go to Eveo's factory, posing as a businessman looking to supply opioids to Nigeria.
We're here to see Mr. Sharma. Thank you. So nice to see you.
This is one of the directors of AVU and the boss of this factory, Vinod Sharma. He takes them on a tour of the factory. The packet of Tafrodol is instantly recognizable. It's the same brand found on the streets in Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire.
Children love this because it's stronger than Tramadol.
This is Super Royal. It looks just like the drugs found in Lagos.
As a best solution, a community solution, identify these products. Like I said about consumerism, you're consuming things that you do not know where they come from, who manufactured, why are they selling them to us, and what's their benefit. You have to understand what you're selling, what you're buying, and what's being sold in your communities, so that you know that, okay, this is going to be a serious issue. Because some drugs are going to assume that it's mbanje, so, but it's bloody tramadol. It's guka, it's cocaine. You see?
Told me about how they came up with the opioids that they make as a reaction to government crackdown on tramadol, which they used to also make. They also had a clear understanding of the global shipping business, the logistics of the operation.
By air is not possible nowadays because government is looking very strictly, and you can supply by the sea, but on other port, not Lagos, another Ghana and other. Otherwise, police can arrest, capture the container.
Clearly, he knew that what he was producing was illegal, but the fact that he was willing to talk about producing the opioids for me, and branding the opioids for me, and shipping the opioids, to West Africa for me, all of that spoke to a businessman who was willing to take a lot of risk.
I can clear from our custom, means India. You can clear from your side. Every client working like this.
Sharma doesn't flinch when the team tells him who they're planning to sell the opioids to.
Do you have local market in Nigeria? We can supply these materials.
So we do. And our plan is to sell to young people. 16, 17-year-olds, we find out a whole lot the products, right? And like you said earlier on, the product, Tafrodol, has really replaced Tramadol in the market.
This item is Tafrodol is a painkiller. But suppose you can use the 2 or 3 tablets in the one time, you can like this relax.
This is what the kids like. That's what they like. Gives them that high.
High.
High means high.
This is very harmful for the health. But
very harmful.
But customer cannot understand that. He wants relax.
He wants to relax. Yeah.
Any medicine can misuse. This is very harmful for the body. But nowadays this is a business.
It's business. This why it's business. Hotel name and a business. Undercover filming, it's business. But yeah, those undercover journalists actually did a really good job. This is a very, very risky business. I mean, investigating these dudes. He looks like a serial killer. He looks like he can put people in, not a serial killer, but he looks like he will pay guys to cut you out, kill your family. He's a drug lord. The source of the drugs in West Africa. I think we need to look for the source in Southern Africa. It's probably the same clique.
Nigerian journalists have been reporting on this opioid crisis for more than 20 years. Finally, I was face to face, not with some local dealer or transnational smuggler, but actually one of the men at the root of Africa's opioid crisis.
Capturing market, slowly.
Okay. One of the men who actually makes this opioid and ships it into our countries by the container load. It's depressing watching someone who produces these opioids speaking about it and describing it simply as business.
In India, any drug made only for export must comply with the requirements of the importing country.
So you see, one thing I know about Zimbabwe is that not a lot of people know how to cook meth or how to cook lean tea. Not a lot of people know how to make tea. So these things are coming elsewhere. All right, they're not our products. We're consuming somebody else's products. They want to damage us. It's warfare. It's narco terrorism. Very, very serious. Firstly, at community level and then government level. If the community decides to say that we're not consuming these drugs, we're going to stop people consuming these drugs, we are going to make people, we're going to burn down the bases, we're going to burn down the shops, the retailers, we're going to, could do some citizens arrest and arrest these people, some community justice, because that's the only option now at this point. Because your police officers are probably underfunded, or they have also corrupt part of this issue and not the solution. So what else are you left with as a society, as people? Because let's not blame the person consuming the drug. Hey, if someone wants to make money from your land because there's oil, they'll come and take you off of it. So if they want to make money with your kids' addiction or with your kids' preference or vice, believe me, they will. Even if you know there's not much you do about it because it's power. But then there's power in numbers. What are you going to do in your numbers and how can you do it? So with the pharmaceuticals, you're going to be buying stuff, drugs, and you're saying it's medication. Initially, it's medication, but it could be corrupted and be turned into a substance. That's where the term substance abuse comes from. Drug abuse, not the drug itself. The drug is supposed to be a medicine. It's supposed to be something else that helps mankind or helps whatever. But you are there abusing it to feel relaxed. So there you have it. Other drugs are designed to ruin you, and other drugs are medication that you corrupted and started abusing. That's what it is. That's generally essentially what it is. So as a community, start identifying the products being sold in your pharmacies, in your shops, in your areas, in everywhere. That's how you want to stop drug abuse, right? Come as a community and start investigating the shops. What are they selling? What are they selling? Who's selling? Who's supplying? Because the source is kind of hard to get to. I mean, these guys are professionals, and it took 20 years, as you heard the other guy talk about, Nigerian journalists, whatnot. Yeah, it's the source, but the source is hard to reach. So in the meantime, let's deal with the retailers. Let's deal with the shops. Let's deal with what's on the ground, and then you can find a solution. That's the community. That's people crying for why kids are taking drugs. Do some community justice. Even the older brothers and the sekurus in the community, these people are selling drugs in your neighborhood. Make them pay tax. You can't take the law into your hands, and the law doesn't seem like they want to take them into their hands. Cool. Make them pay tax. Go and rob these places. Don't go and kill them or anything. Maybe a couple of slaps, cool. But go and rob their places. They're selling drugs to your kids. They're making money, right? Go and rob that place. Take the money. Keep a bit for yourself. And then put back most of it into the community. Help kids that are taking these drugs. Rob them. Make them pay tax. You're selling drugs in the community. Pay tax. Can't just be paying tax to the police. And the police are somewhat seemingly useless. Yeah, and as a community level, again, you're gonna have to come as parents and as citizens and start making more noise, start advocating, because you can't just cry once and then keep quiet. You have to continuously cry with your governments. You have to cry once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, maybe all the way to 10 times, so that you can be heard. If you cry once, then they rub your boo boo with a kiss, and then you quiet. That's the end of it. But if you cry once, then you cry again. 5 minutes after that, you cry again. People will hear you and they'll take you seriously. So all the parents out there crying, keep crying. But I want you to direct your tears to the government, to the communities, to the council. That's what I want you to do. Direct your tears to the council, direct your tears to the government, direct your tears to organizations and whatnot. At least that way you can start combating drugs in a much more peaceful way, because eventually it's going to be mob justice. People are going to burn down and kill people. Like, you are selling drugs to my kid, you're telling your kid to sell drugs to my kid. It's going to create hostility. Anywho, and for your consumers, as I was saying, think about your friends, think about your life, and you might be a consumer, but you have to have at least self-respect and respect for others. You can't just be high every time you're going to see someone or a different person. Every time you're going to see your mom, you're high. Each time you're linking up with people, you're high. Everyone knows you're high. Everyone sees you're high. I think you should have some respect. Keep it to yourself as a private thing, a private leisure thing. People don't need to smell. People don't need to know. Unless you're that kind of person and you're comfortable with that. Okay, not all of us are going to go to heaven. Not all of us are going to find love. Not all of us are going to have the best life. That's how it is. Such is life, eh? So you choose what's best for you. I mean, if you cannot stop taking drugs for yourself, at least stop taking drugs for the people around you, for the people that care about you, for the people that wish you well and want the best for you. At least do that for them, right? It's not about stopping to take drugs, but discipline. Become an adult, right? Become a responsible, mature adult. You can be sober-minded and still be an annoying person. Very irritating. And there's a theory, allegedly, people, especially men, that do not have some form of addiction like alcohol or, okay, not addiction, but some form of dependence like cigarettes or what, they're prone to sleeping around. Their addiction is sleeping around. This says a lot about pastors in this country. Well, I hope that I managed to provide some insight. I don't have a full blueprint, designed blueprint, or a list on how you can stop drugs, but that's what those videos and the opinions that I gave you and the insights are what I think could really help you and are what I think can start you off somewhere. All right. When I go back home, this is my last day in Mutai. Quite a journey. It was fantastic. I enjoyed this place. I like the place. Now I'm going back to Harare. So my videos are going to be a bit different. So I want you to catch up on your global affairs. I want you to catch up on your social affairs, your social political issues, because things do get serious.
Should probably pay attention the next time the World Economic Forum makes a prediction and calls it inevitable. And lo and behold, they are predicting that a coronavirus pandemic, a cyber pandemic, is going to happen and that it is once again inevitable. So, if you look into the exercise that they have run this year, I believe they ran it in July. They've been meeting and talking about the cyber pandemic, what it would look like. Essentially, their idea is that they're going to have to sanitize the internet because a bug, think of it as like a coronavirus for your computer, is going to sweep globally, and the only way they're going to be able to stop this bug from infecting everything is to effectively shut down the internet, right? And they were talking about bringing down the power grid in an effort to do this. So imagine the government bringing down the power grid, and you would not have access to anything that required an electrical charge.
Instead of drug addiction being your problem, you have bigger problems to worry about other than drug addiction or substance abuse. You heard what she said? Yeah, there's more of that going on. Anyway, thank you for watching Loud Squad Family TV. I hope you enjoyed and I hope it helps. If you feel like this video was well done and well put, send it to someone who needs to watch it. Thank you.